Okay, folks, we're going to do Module 2 right now, which is a legal and accounting module. Very important for the foundation of your company and your new business. So I want to get going on this. And the first thing off the bat, I know it's boring. It's not the most exciting thing when you're starting your business. You want to do other things. You want to get sales. You want to set up your office and talk about where you're going to get your leads and all that stuff. But this is essential to your foundation as a legal and a legitimate business entity from an IRS perspective, from a law perspective. So it's very important that you make sure you have the right team and the right stuff set up for your new business. Okay, and I've done this many times, so it's not the hardest thing in the world. And again, I just want to preface this: I'm not an attorney, so please consult one if you for any legal matters if you desire. I don't have an attorney. On staff or on retainer. I have people that I know that I bounce things off of. I use other people that I will show you to determine whether I need an attorney for anything specific, especially in the HR area. Okay. The overriding message of this section is business owners wear many hats. Some will fit, some will not. You should wear multiple hats, but there are some hats that you shouldn't wear, and that's what I want to get into. You're clearly going to have to do a lot of things, starting up your own company by yourself, but there's certain things that I will advise you not to do on your own, and you'll see as we get into that. Okay. I'll give you, of course, my opinion from my real life experiences on where you could save money and where you shouldn't be frugal and where you shouldn't try these things at home. So let's moving forward to get into more specifics. Okay. First thing, to incorporate or not incorporate. I say yes. Incorporating using, most of the time an S corp in most cases, which is a limited liability corporation, which means the debts of the corporation, would not flow to you, but all the income does. So you're protected somewhat from a legal perspective, but from a tax perspective, it's the most easy corporation to set up. You can keep everything separate in the corporation, the expenses, the revenues, and whatnot, and then flow income to yourself personally. So I say yes, incorporate yourself, mostly using an S corp. If you're running a business that's a real estate type business where you're going to be holding assets or properties, you might want to opt for an LLC corporation as opposed to an S corp, but you would never opt for a C corp. Okay, an S corp is something that 99% of you out there would opt for, and I'll tell you who to consult on what type of your business and what corporation you should set up, because it's mostly a tax decision, not an entity decision. Okay. Second thing, you're going to pick a name for your corporation, and this is kind of the fun part. I highly recommend whatever name you pick to check that that is available in your state, your Department of State, in the corporation names, and you get a .com domain name that matches that on the internet. So if you're going to be Acme Roofing Corp, um, Acme Roofing Corp is available in your state. You want acmeroofingcorp.com to be your domain name. Consistency throughout will make it easier for you, less confusing for your clients and your employees down the road. So have the .com, see if that's available. If you love a corporation name and the .com is not available, but the .net or the .org is, just make sure the .com is not in direct competition in your state or location. So if you're Acme Roofing, as my example goes, and Acme Roofing, .com is taken, but .net is available, take the .net, but just make sure acmeroofing.com is not another roofer in your town or location. If you're in New York and the .com is in Idaho, that's fine. You can go with the .net. You're not going to be in competition with each other. Get the .net, but make sure your corporation name and your domain name are the same. That's very important. Okay. Have a professional, a CPA or attorney incorporate for you. The legal Zooms out there, are good options for certain people that know a lot of law and know have opened up businesses before and have done this, but I recommend against it if you're opening up your corporation for the first time. You need someone you can trust. You need somebody that you can answer questions for, not a $10 an hour person answering an 800 line if you have questions with regard to your incorporation. So I highly recommend that, my CPA does it. And I'm going to, explain to you that your CPA is going to be your most important person, in incorporating your business. And I'll give you the name and number of my CPA, who is an excellent CPA for small businesses if you don't have anybody. Okay, moving forward. All right, let's click here. All right. Again, I use my CPA to do my incorporating, and he is my trusted business advisor. Okay, so you always have somebody that you know that you're close to, and that for my businesses is my CPA. Okay, I'm going to do one more slide on this video, and then I'm going to break Module 2 up into 2 videos. So let's just go on this slide. Employees. Okay. In the beginning, you're not going to have employees. You're probably just going to be doing things on your own. But once you get to the point where you hire either salespeople or employees, you're going to have the question, and your CPA will go over this with you, whether to have them as 1099 employees or W-2 employees. And beware of the Department of Labor, because they are vicious. If you have an employee that is really a W-2 employee, meaning you should withhold taxes and pay unemployment insurance and disability and all that stuff, and you are paying them as a 1099, that is a big red flag, and you could get into some serious penalties and fines with the Department of Labor on that. So if you have a 1099 employee salesperson and you want to do 1099, make sure they are a true independent contractor. They don't have set hours. Consult your CPA on this, but if you're going to bring people in to do set hours of work under your direction, 99.9% of the time they will be W-2 employees, and you should treat them as such. And when you set up your payroll and your accountant sets up your payroll with either your CPA or your payroll company, set them up as a W-2, withhold the taxes, pay the FICA for the employer portion, and withhold the appropriate taxes. Only if you have a strict commission-only salesperson would you go 1099. Again, I'm not an attorney, but rule of thumb, those are the basic parameters that you should go by. Okay. Consider having an HR consultant with your company on staff. I have an HR consultant that I do work for from my website company, and she is my consultant for my HR issues. So in lieu of having an attorney, I like to have an HR consultant. I pay them a little money when I need them, but they're critical if I need an independent contractor agreement, if I need an employment contract, whatever. These are excellent people, and I'm going to give you a link below the video and in the resource section for a phenomenal HR company that I work with that will give you a fantastic deal if you need an HR company when you start up your company. Okay. Yeah, and they're named Compass Workforce Solutions, and I'll give you the link below. And they're located in New York, but they could advise you anywhere in the country or the world. Okay. Some people are the only ones who are truly 1099, like I talked about, mostly salespeople. Salespeople are the only ones that are truly 1099. So don't play around with that. Take my advice. I've tried to cut corners on this in the past and been burned. Treat only your salespeople as 1099 employees. Outsourcing. I do a lot of, internet work and internet marketing, so I outsource a lot of grunt work using companies like Odesk and Elance and other online companies, but these two are the best. You get people from the Philippines, people from this country, people from Europe that are just phenomenal. From the programming perspective, you can get people from India, but these are phenomenal people. They handle all the payments. You pay them as an expense to your corporation. They pay the contractor, and it's just a phenomenal work environment. On Odesk, I like the fact that you can track and follow the work that your contractors are doing, and it's on a job by job basis. You have a mailing you want to do, hire somebody on Odesk. You have some data entry you need done, it's perfect. You have some writing you need done, some blog content or whatever, you can hire somebody on Elance. That's really a good company for writing. So these are great sources for company. Don't hire family and friends. I love my crazy family, but it just creates problems. So I don't want to get into it too deeply, guys, but just don't do it. Okay? Use a reputable payroll company if you have any employees. Ask your CPA who they refer. This way they handle all the payroll tax returns, all the forms, all the withholdings. Make sure that you've done it right. Okay? And wait until you absolutely have to hire, before you have to hire people and incur that expense and take on additional debt. because it gets crazy. Outsource, work late, make money first before you bring on other people. Make sure the revenue, the business can handle it and the revenue can support it. So I'm going to cut this video off here so I could just don't make these videos too long. Go into the next slide. So stay with me and I will see you guys in the next video.